Salute to you all. The brave never fall. Self-love through freedom and connection. So feel free to connect to the brave never fall on these social media platforms. If you find anything of value in this following podcast, hit that like button, subscribe and share, and support the brave and bold tribe growing one purposeful soul at a time. How are you feeling? Take a moment to do a self-check-in for yourself. How are you feeling mentally? How are you feeling emotionally? How are you feeling physically? How are you feeling spiritually? Are you feeling balanced? Are you still journeying on an intentional, purposeful path? How are you feeling? Balancing yourself is a healthy daily practice that will reliably keep you in harmony with your entire mind, body, heart, and soul. Clear your mind. Take a moment of silence for yourself right now in the moment. You are here now. How are you feeling? You are human. Allow yourself simply to be who you are. Because there is only you in your life. As much as we want from other people, as much as we care about other people, as much as we gain knowledge from other people, experience things with other people, are inspired by other people, that is still another person. And we can apply that to all the places and things in our life as well. But ultimately, all you have, all you've had, and all you will ever have is yourself. And any lapse in that mindset, when you find that you're codependent with other people, when you're codependent with places and things in your life to make you happy, instead of finding that true happiness and joy and peace and fulfilling purpose within yourself, that's when the hard questions not only have to be asked, but they have to be acted upon. We can't go through life every single day relying on other people. We cannot get through this life, each one of our individual lives, hoping and praying and manifesting things in our lives that require other people to make us happy. Because life is about happiness. That's where it truly comes down to. And if you're not happy, you're not content with your purpose, and you're not feeling fulfilled in the things and the places and people that are in your life, if you feel like the values you stand upon are not aligned or not lining up with the investments you're making with other people, places, and things, why are they in your life? Why are you accepting them? And why would anyone want someone in their lives who is willing to do those things for themselves? You're better than that. We are all better than that. An enterprise is a project or undertaking, typically one that is difficult or requires effort. Our emotions, strength, and happiness is all part of our blueprint of life. Emotions can fuel us with love, empathy, and ambition, or hate, cruelness, and depression. Collectively, these attributes define each of us in a unique way. We all walk our own individual paths that are interlaced with the rest of the people in this world, free yet connected in the blueprint of life. The strength we gain from our own unique experiences shapes us, creates new versions of us daily, offers up new experiences to learn from, to grow and adapt. The moment we become weak, that is the moment when we decide our lives aren't worth being strong for. True strength comes from the heart, believing you can do and overcome anything, that you are more. Happiness lives in the soul. If our souls are dark, we are externally dark. Every human being is born with a blank canvas. Every child is taught by the previous generations, but eventually, as adults, that canvas is clear once more. Time to create. Our lives are an enterprise, a project or undertaking, typically one that is difficult or requires effort. Nothing in life is earned without knowledge. A true assessment of who you are internally. Accepting the challenge of life each day and smiling about it because you trust and believe in yourself. It's powerful and inspiring to others. Externally, you are beautiful, wise, strong, disciplined, creative, and full of value. Internally, you are more. Understand and control your emotions. Be impactful and helpful with your strength, and be grateful and live in peace and happiness. Anything that is difficult and requires effort eventually will lead you to a simple, peaceful, fulfilling, purposeful life that you are proud of. Episode 12. Enterprise of Emotions, Strength, and Happiness. The word enterprise was something that at a young age I grew up loving because I am a huge Star Trek fan. And the Star Trek series itself is something that I not only watched all the time with my parents, both of my mother and my father, and my sister and my brother and my cousins, everybody in my family, like most people, were huge Star Trek fans. And I remember my favorite ship, and even to this day, my second favorite ship, I should say, my favorite ship is the Millennium Falcon, because I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. But Star Trek holds a special place in my heart because it unlike Star Wars, it's much more grounded in real life. It's based on our history. It's based on what we aspire to be, and the world being united, and not only being united with ourselves, but united with other species throughout the galaxy, and being able to explore strange new worlds, just like we explore strange new places on our own planet and within ourselves. So it's always held a context for me that it was not only something that is a form of entertainment, but I learned a lot from Star Trek. And I remember the ship itself, in particular, the original series, the Starship Enterprise. I used to always want to know why they call it that. Now, we obviously know that the name Enterprise didn't start on Star Trek. There are actually battleships in the United States military, Navy, called the Enterprise. So we know that word is heavily deep within the culture of at least the United States human beings. I call it United States human beings because we act like a weird race of aliens sometimes because we're so unique over here, but it's something that we hear all the time, but nobody really knows what the meaning of it is. And it's when I got to an age where I started asking myself questions when I was a teenager, and I started wanting to know more about why people were named what they were named, why places were named what they were named. And I remember wanting to know why the Enterprise was named that. And as you heard in the introspection, it's an undertaking. You could be united in this undertaking. It's going to be difficult, but it offers a vessel for you to explore. And that's what that ship always, what I loved about it, is that it was literally named something that knew it was going to be in trials and tribulations, going through things that are difficult, exploring new places, again, strange new worlds. And if you look at the ship in outer space, in the vastness and the void of space, it looks like it's free, alone. But internally, it's connected with all these people who have created it. And I've always looked at that as like, that is so unique that human beings could create something that if you step away from and look at it from afar, it looks like it's thinking and moving around on its own. The ship out here is going from planet to planet all over the galaxy, but can't do anything on its own unless the humans inside program it to do it. I just found it fascinating. So yes, I jumped on the opportunity to throw that name Enterprise somewhere in phase 2, and I was fortunate enough to have it fit perfectly with emotions, strength, and happiness, because that undertaking of trying to get your emotions under wrap. And we always talk about growing up from a young age and being influenced by other people and places and things in life, and we don't always get a fair shake. Not everybody has a silver spoon in their mouth when they're born. Not every person is going to catch the right break at the right time. And even if you did, were you prepared to do anything with that break that you caught? It's just so many different variables, so many different things in life that can break the shell of a good version of ourselves emotionally. And unfortunately, we do get in a place in life where we have to figure out, how do we navigate through not space with our vessel, but how do we navigate through this world, on this planet, every day in our life with our vessel, with our crew members being our soul, our mind, our body, our heart, all of it's connected. We are the ship and the people. And I find that to be enlightening to me. But when it comes to emotions, now let's dive deep into this real quick. When it comes to emotions, boy, is that balance important. Because that balance of emotions is what's going to keep you grounded, keep you stable, keep you focused, and it's going to get you through those tough times, those tough undertakings that we have to go up against. Those things are going to happen in life. We have to be prepared for it, and we need the right set of emotions to identify that each issue that comes in front of us requires a different set of strengths in order for us to be happy. Enterprise of emotions, strength, and happiness. Our emotions dictate what levels of strength we need, what levels of strength we have, what we don't have. And that strength is our shield that protects our happiness. So if our emotions are running rampant and they're just causing us to make crazy, neurotic decisions about everything and every place and everyone, and we're overly emotional and we're overly eager to get things without earning them, we're overly eager to see the opinions and recognize the judgments of other people and actually take them in as if they matter, which causes us to fall deeper into a more emotional state. If we get to these places, how do we get balanced out with them? Because if we get to that kind of a place, your strength is going to weaken at that point. Your shield now has cracks and holes all in it. Your shield looks like you're holding a big, giant shield of Swiss cheese with cracks in it. You're too overly emotional about something, and you have to detach, or you haven't detached. So you can see the situation for what it is and see what is making you so overly emotional and how it's affecting your strength, which is ultimately affecting your happiness. But if we're void of emotion, if we go into each situation without any emotion, and we go into and we deal with every relationship without any emotion, and we have things that we're not connected to them with any emotion at all, now that is the other side of the spectrum. Like, too overly emotional is really bad, and not having any emotion at all is really bad. Because now you're some type of emotionless, unempathetic automaton machine. You are the Starship Enterprise without a crew. You're just lost aimlessly in space. You can't be strong because there's no one to set your defenses or for anything for you to be ambitious about. You have no plot. You have no course of action. And how can a machine with no soul, with nothing to do, be happy? There is, in Star Trek 5, let's keep on the Star Trek theme, I suppose. In Star Trek 5, The Final Frontier, Kirk, Bones, and Spock. And Spock is my favorite Star Trek character, followed by Kirk, followed by Bones. Spock's brother Sybok believes he has found the source of God. God has created the universe, and he believes God is calling to him. He wants to find out. He wants to face God. They want to go to this planet. It's called the Great Reef Barrier. And they want to go to this place. Every ship that goes in this place gets destroyed. Sybok, Spock's half-brother, is just hell-bent on going there. But he has a unique gift. He has the ability, Sybok, to take the pain away from people and leave them in an emotionally happy state all of the time, which essentially gets these people to a state where they will listen to anything that he says, and he ultimately controls them, manipulates them. Through this technique that he has of just stripping away their pain, they become so blissful that they have nothing to worry about. Everything's fine. Everything's going to be okay because Sybok said so. They become automatons. Soulless, lifeless, emotionless, weak, happy, too overly happy people. But ultimately, being too overly happy without strength and without emotions, you are really unhappy. So I found, even though Star Trek 5 is by far the worst of all the Star Trek films, there is still a good film in my opinion. I actually do enjoy it. But a lot of people don't like the film because it's based on these things. And there's a scene where Spock, Kirk, and Bones are in a dark room and they're talking to Sybok. And Sybok is going through each one of them individually and stripping out of them their worst memory. The memory that brings them the most pain, the most stress, anxiety, the worst fears and pains ever. He is stripping them of this. But these are strong individuals. Obviously, the weaker you are, the quicker he can turn you. These are the strongest on the ship. So he's having a little bit more difficult time trying to get them to do this. And he shows Spock a memory of him being born to a half Vulcan, half human woman. Shows Bones losing his father, not being able to save his father and watching his father die. And then he gets to Kirk. And Kirk says, nope, you're not doing this to me. You're not going to do this to me. And he says, why not? Why would you want to live with this pain? I can give you a gift. I'm not a bad person. I can literally take your pain away, and we can go find God and find the answers together. And pain and Kirk looks at him, and he's looking at him like, pain. And he says, I don't want my pain taken away. I need my pain. I don't want my pain taken away. I need my pain. I will put a link in the description to that scene in the description box below in this podcast. You have to check this scene out. Look at Kirk's face. Listen to his words. I don't want my pain taken away. I need my pain. Why? Because going through life as an automaton is not a good idea. You need your emotions. You need your strength. You need your happiness. And if any of those things are taken away, you will turn into a lifeless automaton, controlled and manipulated by other people. No focus, no drive, no determination. You're just a shell of yourself. So I love that scene. And I think there's plenty of themes like that in all the Star Trek films. In the series, from all the characters. There's so many different characters, so many different people, so many different scenarios that show mimics life in a way. And I think being void of emotions and living in a state of knowing what pain is how you overcome and start to know yourself in ways you never could have imagined. It's not about avoiding pain. It's about recognizing it and understanding it and putting it into context. Your perception of your life cannot be told in truth if you leave out things like pain. If you leave out things like hurt, bad memories, bad experiences, when you don't push yourself to do new things. How do you get strong if you don't get to a point where you're putting yourself in new situations to grow in life? When you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, day after day, after week, after month, after year, after decade. You look back and you say, I have been doing literally the same thing for decades now. And I'm not happy. Could you imagine if they built the Starship Enterprise and they left space dock, they went to 3 or 4 planets, and then they just kept doing the same loop over and over and over again? They had the capability of going to anywhere they want in the solar system, in the galaxy, but they chose to go to the same 3 remote planets that was closest to space dock because they wanted to feel safe. They didn't want to push the boundaries. They didn't want to explore strange new worlds. They wanted to revisit common, comfortable worlds that they knew. Worlds that are reoccurring. Things that I got this because I know how to do this. How do you grow from that? How do you know what the ship is actually made of if you don't push the boundaries? How do you know what your crew is made of if you don't push the boundaries? And your crew is your mind, your body, your heart, and your soul. That's your crew. And if you don't push the boundaries of that crew, how do you know what they're really capable of? How do you know true happiness if you don't know what true pain is? How do you know what true happiness is if you don't know what true pain is? Do you ever see somebody who's overly emotional about something that has absolutely nothing to do with their existence? When somebody is overly emotional about an object or a person or a place. And what I mean by overly emotional, I mean blowing it so far out of context that they become weak, unhappy, and they are unable to function over some external thing they have no control over. Now let's put this into context. We know what that feels like, because that if you have made it past teenage years, that's how you define teenage years. Overreacting emotionally to everything. And I think that is where I started to separate in my life, where I was like, okay, I'm not overreacting with emotion anymore. I'm actively looking at the situation for what it is, and I'm going to make the best course of action for me first, because I know I can trust myself. And even when I doubted myself, there's still a small little level, a silver lining of that in there. And that's the place you want to get to. You want to get to a place where the decisions you make, you trust, even if they're wrong. Now think about that for a second. The decisions you make, you trust, even if they're wrong. You may say, Tiger, how does that make any sense? It makes sense in this sense. It makes sense because if you trust yourself and whatever that thing is wrong, if you're standing on the correct blocks of value you have collected for yourself, the base, the stage you stand on of value that you collected for yourself, whatever that wrong thing is that you made, that mistake, that disappointment, whatever that is, it's not that bad, because it's a good thing. You're always going to be focused on things that are good. So even if you fail at getting something that is good, that doesn't mean you're bad. That means you're trying to reach for more. You don't look up at the sky and say there's a limit, there's a glass dome, there's a firmament. You're looking at the sky and saying, I can leave this atmosphere, go up to space dock, get on a ship, and go to any planet I want. You're not saying to yourself, I'm too weak to even get on the rocket to take me to space dock. You're not saying that, because you know, hey, why shouldn't I be up there? That's where I need to be. In this world, of course we have limitations. No, unlike Star Trek, we can't just get on a rocket ship and go fly off into outer space. But guess what you can do? You can get in your mind and go anywhere you want. You can go into your heart and feel whatever you need to feel. That's what you can do. Your mind can take you anywhere that starship could take that crew. What you explore, what you choose to focus on, is very important. Because if you're choosing to focus on things that are irrelevant and have no meaning or no purpose or no fulfilling excitement in your life, where you're not excited about the things you're thinking about, maybe you should be thinking about something else. If you feel weak, it's probably because you are weak. Because even the strongest people, we all get weak. Every strong person has days where they're weak. But what they don't do is that they don't say, this is an excuse to do nothing. This is an excuse to be unhappy. This is an excuse to be overly emotional. They're not excuses. In fact, what they are, they're reminders that we're human. They're reminders that we are not doing this alone, and that for every excuse that you make, somebody else is not making one. For every excuse that you're making, someone else, and this person is probably very close to you, they're not making one. They're taking life for what it is, good, bad, or ugly, and they're going with it. They're not staying on the same planet. They explored everything. It's time to move on to the next one. Value. You don't explore a planet that has no value. So if they took the ship and they went out, and yes, I'm going heavy on this Star Trek shit today, but it's just fitting perfectly with the theme. If you take a ship, if you take the Enterprise and you go to one planet and you explore it, or they do a little diagnosis, or they do a scan before they even get to the planet. They say, nope, not worth our time. They move on. They don't even stop. Why? I heard this is coming from, now I'm skipping to something completely different, but there's a battle rapper called, his name is JC, Julian Carter, but we call him JC. And he just did a vlog, and he was talking about how some battle rappers get pissed off when people go into their private life and start talking about their wives, their children, their jobs. And JC said, in particular, this one battle, there was a guy battle rapping another guy, and one of the guys was basically saying to the other guy, hey, look, I used to be with your girl. I used to make love to her. I used to go out with her, and you're trying to marry her. And this was a whole big thing of, is that going too far? Because he was being very detailed. She had a tattoo here. She had a scar here. And JC brought up another context. He says, you know what? The guy who was offended shouldn't have been offended. Why? Because he should have been scanning who the person he was battling was and his woman. Meaning, everybody has a flag. And that's what he said. He says, everybody has a flag. Just like you stop at a stoplight. Everybody has a flag. Their flag may be red. Their flag may be yellow. Their flag may be green. So when the Starship Enterprise goes up to a planet, they say, what's going on down there? Nope. It's kind of in the orange area going towards red. Keep moving. We don't have time for people to have red flags on. That's why we call them red flags. We can take a little time to maybe slow down and do a flyby when people have yellow flags. And the people who have green flags, which there aren't many people, you stop and explore that person, just like the Enterprise would stop and explore a world that was green and full of life, and they could say, okay, this world is worth exploring. So when we're in life, we have to explore ourselves in the same way. Where are our red flags? What areas of our life have yellow flags? What areas of our life have green flags? And how do we piece it all together and make it balance out? What areas have turned from red flags to green flags? What areas are just perpetually stuck in the yellow, where it's just like, I don't know about this. Should I keep it or should I let it go? When you think about your body and your mind, your heart and your soul that way, it takes on a different context, especially when it comes to in relation to emotions, strength, and your ultimate peace, joy, and happiness in life. Because that's what we should be doing. Every day should be an exploration of who you are. And if you're not doing that, you are wasting space time. You're wasting travel time. You're wasting so many of the good aspects of your life by living in and focusing on the red areas of your life instead of going towards the green areas, or maybe changing up some of those yellow areas. This journey of life is not a journey that should be taken in on impulse every time somebody makes you upset, or every time you don't get something that you don't want, or every time something doesn't work out for you in forms of a job or a relationship, or whatever it is. How can you ever get to a place of happiness if you're constantly focusing on all the negative aspects of yourself, but you never look at all the positive aspects of yourself? When you're meeting people that have red flags all over them, places that have red flags all over them, things that have red flags all over them, yet you choose to stay with them. Life is about adjustments, adaptation, evolution. It's about change. A powerful person understands that. What I mean by powerful, I mean a person who is in complete understanding of what they are capable of. And they're not only aware of what they're capable of, they're acting on it and they're creating out of that powerful mindset. They know they are impactful. They know they are inspiring. That's how you become the captain of the Enterprise. You think someone with the integrity and the mindset of Kirk became the captain because he was weak, overly emotional, or unhappy? No. He became the captain because he's strong, he has his emotions in check, and he's excited about his job, about the exploration. Does he make mistakes? Of course. That's what makes him human. That's why he needs his pain. That's why we all need our pain. When we try to mask our pain, when we try to only live in situations that are filled with happiness, when you can't be happy unless you're on vacation, you can't be happy unless you're making more money than everybody you're working with, you can't be happy unless you get those new shoes, that new car, you can't be happy unless that relationship you're in ends in marriage and 3 kids and a white picket fence. When you want all these things, that doesn't mean you're going to get them because you want them. Can you create these things and put yourself in a position where you have the best opportunity to get these things should the situations and the people, places, and things arise in your life? Of course. Of course. That is part of the adventure. That is part of the adventure. In Star Trek 2, I am really on this Star Trek thing. In Star Trek 2, Spock, spoiler alert, dies at the end of Star Trek 2. And he's best friends with Kirk, and Kirk watches him die. He saved the ship by going down and basically getting blasted in the face with radiation. Spock dies. They shoot his body out of a empty torpedo canister onto the planet called Genesis, of all places. They think he's dead. The planet itself has regenerative powers, and it starts to regenerate Spock in Star Trek 3. They get aware. They understand that the planet has this power, and they go and they rescue Spock. They steal the Enterprise against the Federation's will because the needs of the one, Kirk says, outweighs the needs of the many, where the phrase is always the needs of the many outweighs the needs of the few, is what Spock said before he died in Star Trek 2. And it's reversed in that, which means, guess what that is? That's called balance. And at the end of Star Trek 3, they resurrect Spock, and he comes back to life. And through the ceremony on Vulcan, they do a Vulcan ceremony, and because at the end of Star Trek 2, Spock put his memories and his essence into bones, and they were able to swap his memory back over at the end of that. And the point of all that is, Spock was given a new life. He wasn't quite the same as he was before, but he was Spock. He had a new chance, a new lease in life. And we all get that every single day. And at the end of Star Trek 3, it says in the titles, this is the only time it says in any of these movies, it says, and the adventure continues. And the adventure continues. After all that happened, life goes on. Life is allowing you to recreate yourself anew each and every day. You have a new regenesis every single day. You have a chance to become stronger, more emotionally stable, and far more happier than you were before. And that is what life is all about. We conclude Color Wave Yellow with this mission. And that is for you to definitely write this down. Write 3 words: emotions, strength, and happiness. And draw columns down, make it 3 columns, and under each one, write down all the things that makes you emotional. It doesn't have to be positive or negative. Just anything that makes you emotional, good, bad, or ugly, doesn't matter. Anything that brings you strength or takes away from your strength, just write them down. Doesn't matter if it's good, bad, or ugly. It doesn't matter. Anything that brings you happiness or takes away from your happiness, just write those things down. It could be words, it could be sentences, it could be a paragraph. It could be 5 pages long. Do whatever it takes to flush out where you're at in those areas. Where are you at emotionally? What things are creating positive emotions for you, and what things are people, places, and things in both of those areas taken away from your emotions and making you overly emotional and in distress. And same for your strength. What things are making you strong in life? What people, places, or things are making you strong, and what things are making you not so strong, making you feel weak? And your happiness. What people, places, or things are making you happy or taken away from that happiness? Figure it out. Ask yourself questions about each one. See what you come up with. It's your blueprint. It's your life. What you come up with, be honest about it. And then act upon it. Act upon it. Do some things in there. Circle some things. Put some stars around them. Highlight whatever the areas you are that you want to change. The areas that you want to keep. What areas have red flags? What areas have yellow flags? And what areas have green flags? This is your day. You are here now. These are your moments. You own them. You are brave, bold, powerful. You do believe in yourself. You know you have more in the tank. You know the glass is half full. There is still more room for improvement. There is no end. Believe, believe, believe in yourself. You do believe in yourself. You do believe you can do whatever it takes to get the job done. You don't procrastinate. You don't embellish. You don't lie. You're true to yourself. Peace is in your mind. Peace is in your heart. Peace is in your body. It is definitely in your soul. You are greatness. You have purpose, intentful purpose. You are here for a reason. You are ambitious. You are loving. You are kind, empathetic, compassionate. You are self-love. You have self-control, self-respect. You are joy, peace, freedom, happiness. You are connected to everything in this world and in this universe. And if no one has told you this today, I love you. You deserve to hear that. Salute to you all. The brave never fall. Learn, laugh, and level up.